How good was that? That was Enshroud, Bound in the Sacrifice. More to come on them in the minute. Welcome everybody to the show, first of all. I hope you're all staying positive out there. We have good weather, thank fudge. And that certainly helps in the middle of these strange times. You will be delighted to know I have an absolutely brilliant show lined up for you this week, full of fantastic bands and a great interview with the legend that is Aidan Cunningham over in America. Stay with me for the next hour or so, and this lockdown is going to continue for another couple of weeks by the sounds of it, which is fairly shitty. But I will be doing my best to keep ye occupied with the best interviews and the best bands on the show. I hope you all enjoyed last week's show, which featured music from Words That Burn, The Grief, So Much for the Sun, and Peasant to a King. The star of the show last week, of course, was Andy Clark of The Crawlin'. Last seen lying on a sun lounger in his back garden in the sunshine, supping on an ice-cold beer over the weekend. And that certainly brought a smile to my face, as it did to many others who commented on the picture. Yeah, keep putting up pictures like that, everybody. It all helps in some way that we are still getting on with our lives to some degree in the middle of this crazy and weird time. Now, the band that opened the show was Enshroud, and that song was absolutely fantastic. It is called Bound in the Sacrifice. I hope you all enjoyed that. That guitar riff at the start, man, that is so sick. Some really cool breaks in the song as well, I thought. Nice change of vocals in the middle as well, and a brilliant track. Well done, lads. For those that don't know too much about Enshroud, they're an Irish-based band, and they started jamming together in 2018. They're all friends who share a love of metal, and they decided to see what would happen if they wrote enough material to get together an EP. They're extremely proud of the material that they have so far, and interestingly enough, they want to stay anonymous. So that's something you have to respect. And, you know, as a band, they feel that they want the music to stand front and center on its own. They're happy enough, as they say, to walk in the shadows of that. So they got a good review of Ola England on his channel, which is an extremely popular channel on YouTube, and they are releasing their third single on Friday the 17th, which is also when this show is available to download. Of course, the wizard himself, Josh up at JSR Studios in Belfast, was involved in tracking, mixing and mastering the EP, and it is certainly something to be excited about if you are a fan of that band, and I'm sure hopefully a lot of you will be converted if you check out the band's other material on YouTube, and also keep an eye on their Facebook page for updates. Thanks again to Enshroud for submitting the track to open this week's show. Now moving on, today there was a big shock in the Irish metal scene when Asect announced that Tony's time with the band has unfortunately finished up. The band are now currently looking for another singer. So the band issued a statement on Facebook saying that Tony's time with Asect has come to an end. This was a tough but mutual decision, and it is best for the band moving forward. Tony was with us for a year and a half, and in that time the band reached many milestones. We thank Tony for that time and his contributions to the band. We wish him all the best with his future projects. So given the current circumstances, we will be holding auditions online. If you're interested, PM us and we can sort out the details with you. Any and all styles are welcome. We have a full album recorded and ready to go. So that is really a bummer. We saw a sect in Urban Assault, and they were one of the bands of the day. All of us that went there were in agreement with that, and had the privilege of chatting to every one of the lads afterwards as well. What can I say? It's a tough one, considering that they have a whole album ready to go. Absolutely gutted over that. A shout out to the remaining members of the band, to Dave Kennedy on guitar, Aidan O'Halloran also on guitar, Luke Peters on drums, and Aidan Williams on bass. Let's just hope that it's a new beginning for both Tony and the sect, and that they all stay within the Irish metal scene, as they are all really top class blokes first of all, and extremely talented as well. Again, just want to say, if you're interested in applying for the role of singer with a sect, contact the band directly on their Facebook page, and also you can get to the band on asectband@gmail.com. And please know something about the band before you apply. Don't be wasting their time by not knowing anything about their material. Okay, next up are a band from Wexford. They're a 4-piece. They're called Death Can Wait. We've got Brian on vocals, Dave on guitar, Shane on bass and backing vocals, and Patrick on drums. I was in contact with them and they said their music is a reflection of ourselves, contrast, tension and honesty, a non-specific blend of sounds. Their debut EP, Self-Portrait, is scheduled for release in 2020 via independent label Burning Metal Records. Shout out to Phil. We all know Phil through Burning Metal, the Facebook page, and it was recorded in Orchard Studios in Wexford. So 2 tracks already were released. Left was released in August 2019 and Wreckage in September 2019. I can also exclusively reveal the other 4 songs on the EP. They're called Nerve Endings, Hemorrhage, Scorned, and the one that caused me the biggest amount of hassle was Future Corpse. The reason I say that is because the band posted this really cool promo on their Facebook page, and it consisted of a load of scraps of paper and a hand holding a cigarette lighter, and they were slowly burning each scrap of paper, which contained a song title. Me being a super nerd, after numerous attempts of pausing, playing, and trying to figure out this ink-soaked writing, I did my detective work and I got those 4 songs for the sake of it. It was a good effort though, lads. I admire people that do something different. But so they're the other 4 song titles of a 6-titled EP that have yet to be released by Death Can Wait. They did enter Metal to the Masses, and I think that was their last gig for Heat 5. And you can check out all their social media on Instagram, Facebook, Bandcamp and YouTube. Okay, let's get the adrenaline pumping again with Death Can Wait, and the track is Left. Enjoy.
Don't think you'll ever know what you meant to me. Don't think I'll ever forget what you did to me. Amongst the rats and rooms, you led me to my tomb. The nights of bleeding, screaming at the sky. You once lived for me,
And that was the brilliant Death Can Wait, and the song was called Left. As a big fan of therapy, I'm hearing some therapy vibes there, and that is all good by me, big time. Really cool, really good strong chorus, and some great guitar parts as well. I would love to see that song live, to be fair. And to your credit, lads, if that came out in the 90s, Dave Fanning would be playing that on his show, and it would also feature on a few other shows as well on radio, you know. So lads, well done. Thanks for submitting the song to the Metal Cell podcast, and best of luck with the new EP. Okay, I want to give a shout out now to John Ard, as he's commonly known as, and Kieran of Bad Reputation and The Siege. So last Sunday was a weird one for the majority of us metal fans anyway, at least. We had to spend the day at home. Yes, now, to be fair, it was Easter Sunday, so there was an egg hunt and blah-de-blah-de-blah. But my head was in the game, but my heart was thinking of The Siege. I should have been in Limerick, residing in my usual haunt, Dolan's, and bringing bands back and forth to the Clayton Hotel, where I would always have a stash of cans ready to interview whichever particular band on the day that I fancied and did my research on. And that didn't happen. You know, that was just such a strange feeling. And we all the East Cork Metal Militia, we were all texting each other, and Danielle, Jack, Evan, I know we were all going through this, that we should be up in Dolan's celebrating one of the best indoor festivals in Europe. It is what it is, and in fairness to the lads, they kept us entertained during the day through updates on their Facebook, the Siege Limerick that is. And the first message was at 11:40, and it says, "This is the first Easter Sunday in 12 years that, through forces beyond our control, we cannot do the Siege. We've never missed the Siege since the beginning, and although it won't be the same, we do have some small surprises that we will share throughout the day. Hail to the Siege and stay home." So the first one was a Siege cast. So if you listen to it, it was members of bands and some songs and everybody reminiscing about their favourite ones that were past. And the next Easter egg was the legendary Siege of Limerick t-shirts, which always sell out, and this was no fucking different. Of course, I missed out on that. That post was at 16:50. At 6:45 they put up a Spotify list as well, and do check that out. It is excellent. Then came the news yesterday that they said that it was with sadness that they now must update the EREC 2020 edition of The Siege from postponed to cancelled. The factors leading to this decision were many, and they were entirely unrealistic to overcome in the unpredictable few months ahead. We're not going to dwell on it, and rather now focus our sights in October. If you want more information on the cancellation, you can hear more on the podcast that we shared yesterday. Stay home, don't be a ghoul, great term, and we'll see you all when this blows over. Siege of Limerick and Bad Reputation. It was such a fantastic lineup and all, and the lads are keen that we move on, and I think that's the right thing to do. And hopefully we will rejoice in October with one of the best ones yet. I'm sure they won't leave us down in relation to that. Okay, the next band I have on the show is a band that I hadn't heard of before until Tombs came onto the show, and they spoke highly of this upcoming band called Survivalist because they played Metal to the Masses with them, and I went, okay, I'll check them out. So I did, man, and they were absolutely class. Shout out to Stu on guitars, Taylor on bass, Gavin on vocals, Daryl on drums, and Tom on guitars. In relation to the band, they were formed in June 2019, so they're relatively new on the scene. And their influences are Architects, Killswitch Engage, While She Sleeps, and August Burns Red. So when Tombs encountered them, they were in Metal to the Masses, as I said, and they went through to the semi-finals with Elder Druid, which was pretty impressive when you consider they were up against Tombs and Molar Bear as well. I'm glad to say they have an upcoming album, 7, on the way. It's Road V11, and although there's no release date finalised, because of the circumstances as well, which don't help, they've released 3 singles off it so far. Trust me with this, and go onto YouTube and check out In Which I Envy is the debut track, and there's a lyric video with that, and that is excellent. The second one then was the one I came across, which was Pride Brings Ruination. The third track, which is the one you're going to hear, is Greed and Obsession. So again, the video is up on YouTube. And of course, our best bud, Josh from JSR Audio, who else recorded and produced the album. You can get access to all their music on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon Music, and probably 150 other streaming websites. So get on to their Facebook page and get onto their YouTube page and check these lads out. I think they are seriously going places. This track is, in my opinion, pretty fucking awesome. So enjoy Survivalist with Greed and Obsession.
Blinded by
Yes, indeed. That was Survivalist with Greed and Obsession. And if you think that was ferocious stuff, I certainly did. Great vocal delivery too. The production, as usual, spot on with Josh. Wouldn't doubt you, kiddo. And there was some sick riffage. I would say the perfect balance as well between heaviness and I like that bit of melody as well. And the rhythm section throughout, absolutely class. I think these lads are seriously going places. They just need the right break, I think, and the right people to hear this fantastic tune. And thanks again, lads, for submitting it for the Metal Cell podcast. Okay, let's get on to the main section of the show. The interview with the genius, the mastermind, the mixer, the recorder, Mr. Aidan Cunningham. Hello, everybody. This is Richie from the Metal Cell podcast. I'm absolutely delighted to welcome producer, mixer, recording engineer, Aidan Cunningham to the show. I'm a massive fan, Aidan. Delighted to have you on board.
Richie, thanks for having me. Yeah, I introduce myself as that when I walk into every room.
Do you?
I'm a mixer. I'm a producer. No, I don't.
You're kind of running out of titles at this stage.
I know. Like, yeah, I'll put doctor in there maybe someday, you know.
Hey, man, why
Thanks
not?
very much for having me. Yeah, thanks. This is cool.
It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. This is a new format for me, and I'm really enjoying it, that we can use modern technology to link up. So for the listeners, you might just say where you are.
Well, I'm currently sitting in my mixing room in Brooklyn, New York. So you can tell by the accent, I'm still very much an Irish lad. Anyway, still a lad from the bog. So yeah, that's made a move over here last year. So,
right. I wasn't actually aware that you moved over. Are you doing kind of a few months together, or what? What way are you doing it?
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, it was something I didn't consciously start going, oh, I'm in New York, look at me, I'm great. You know, more so because I've spent the last, 13, 15 years building up a bit of a name for myself in Ireland and building up a relationship with bands. And it wasn't a case of like, right, that's over now, I'm burning that bridge.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is, I'm living here with my partner Lara, but I'm still coming back to Ireland kind of, well, not at the moment, but every 2 or 3 months for a block of producing and recording, and then I'm just mixing it back here.
Right, very good.
So I'm just giving that a try, like, yeah.
So like was it hard to get accommodation as in an apartment, or how did you did you have all that sorted beforehand, or did you have to use friends or connections, or?
Well, kind of yes and no. So the main, it's very hard to get visas to get into the States here, and the main
I could imagine.
Came up was my partner Lara. She was offered the opportunity. I was like, well, if you want, there could be a spot on a team for you. She's a designer over here, and we were thinking, like, Jesus, it's not every day, and not every day you get that kind of option. It wasn't something that was like, I'm going to go to New York and I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it, baby. Like, it was very much a calculated decision of, will we do this or not? And, and I said, feck, we'll give it a go. And I was obviously very conscious about like coming over here and not being as connected to things. But then also that could be an advantage as well. Like,
yeah,
let's forward to try get working with some new bands and try just meet some new people. And, so what happened then with the accommodation, New York is insane. And not kind of like in the Dublin or the Irish way where there's no houses or no apartments. There's plenty of places.
Oh, right, okay.
But it's almost like a personality contest to get a place. Like, you have to kind of come in and they look for your CV and they look for your whole. We had to send our professional websites to people, like to the landlord. Like, really, you're auditioning to get a place. Like,
Jesus,
yeah, crazy. So but the place I'm sitting in now is joined on to where we're living. So it's like it completely fluked out that way.
What? Are you serious?
Looked at. Yeah, just because, like, I don't know how we managed it. 2 Irish just getting off the plane, and we just with Irish luck or something, we got this place.
That's incredible. And what are the rates like over there, accommodation wise, in relation to Dublin? Is it expensive?
Yes, like it is in terms of, it's weird, right? It's New Yorky, so everything is amplified by about 3 times as much. Okay. But then salaries are insane, and not mine at the moment. But like, the general 9-to-5 job, like, it's the general cost of living is actually probably cheaper, I would think, than Dublin.
Wow. Okay.
But the rents are meant, like, if someone is living in Manhattan, we're not in Manhattan, we're in Brooklyn, about 20 minutes away. Mm-hmm. If someone's living in an apartment in Manhattan for a bed sit, you're paying $5 or $6 grand a month. Like, it's just
$5 or $6 grand a month.
stupid. Yeah, that's crazy. But then they might be earning 200 grand a year, 150. It's just but you know, so the kind of, it's just like inflation. But your take home and your money to buy groceries and everything's kind of the same. Like it's just
fair play, man. I mean, respect. You know, what's it like if they're at the moment? It must be very strange.
Weird. I've never wanted to be in a quiet field in Ireland so much in my life, and just like I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm a lad, like I love cities, but I'm very much a go for a nice walk and then in a green field kind of fella, you know, and just chill out. So New York's intense. But at the moment, it's weird because where we are, we're in a part of Brooklyn called Cobble Hill.
Okay.
And it's very quiet. Like it's kind of a very residential, family, nice neighborhood. Like it's not crazy intense New York. So my day to day really isn't changing all that much. I'm working away here, and Lara's working from home here, that's different, but we're fine.
Yeah.
And we're not really, like, you're seeing the news reports and you're seeing all the terrible things, but we're not in
the middle of it
at the door. So it's kind of very strange. It's kind of like, I know this is going on, but I'm also not really, I'm not seeing people dying in front of me. So it's hard to process it, if that makes sense.
Like, have you ventured down to the main area of New York, took a few pictures when it was deserted and stuff?
I went in just before it kind of got like, okay, don't leave your house kind of.
Yeah.
But it was still kind of like Lara was working from home, and it was all, I had to cancel my flights to Ireland back. I was supposed to be in Ireland right now, actually, producing a few things. But I went in with my gloves and my mask, and I was really careful. I said, I have to see the middle of New York. Like, when else are you ever going to see this in your whole life? Like, and it was weird. It was. Yeah. I'm going to actually say I kind of enjoyed it, and I don't mean that in any sort of a, like, you know,
I know,
disparaging way of the situation. But I kind of, it's like, this is nice. Like, it just shows you how much craziness and advertising there is in the world, and then there was no one there to take, to pay attention to it. It was really weird. Like, I'm not going to say nice or pleasant, but just a weird, kind of calm feeling about the whole thing, which was nice.
Yes, I mean, geez, to be in the middle of it, I would be the same. I would have to, just out of curiosity's sake, to get down and have a look around and go, wow, this is just one of those rare moments in time, you know. Yeah. I want to talk to you as well. Amphion loudspeakers, you've linked up with them.
Yep.
How did that come about?
It came about, so a lot of lads in the industry that I would know, or like, you start seeing people have been raving about these things. They're like, okay, well, maybe give these a try. And I was at a festival in Frankfurt called Music Messe. It's kind of like a big trade show. All the guitar manufacturers there, all the studio equipment. It's just a big, I love it. It's like Christmas morning when you go over. Now, it's actually been getting smaller the last few years, but anyway, that's another chat. But I just got talking to them, and I demoed them over there. I was like, oh wow, these are really something. But like this was in a huge big arena hall with noise. So it's like, I think these sound good. I can't really hear it, but there's something really amazing here. Right. So I got chatting to the guys, and actually they sent me over back in Ireland, and they sent me over a set to try out for a couple of months. I built up a good relationship with them. They're like, oh, we'll send you a set. It's fine. Yeah. And I can't, like, until I stop making records, I don't think I'll be making records on anything else. They're just
Jesus. And those lads are from Finland, is it?
Yep. They're a Finnish company. I believe it's kind of a 10 or 12 people employed. Like, it's not a big, massive, multinational, global company. Like, it's the father and son run it. Nancy and Julian, and it's very, very, very small community. But they're the way I describe them to people is, and I'm not sure how many of I'm sure a lot of your listeners would be into production. A lot of metal guys are, a lot of heavy guys are, but it almost sounds like there's no monitors there. That's the thing. They don't sound like monitors. It just sounds like they're invisible, and that's what I love about them. Yeah, and I mean, like, I put up a fader here, I'm just hearing it. It's not. Yeah. It's not overhyping it, And I mean, you love to immerse yourself in all that's in equipment. So, I mean, that's high praise indeed. You also did a nice brief as well with Pro Studio. Oh yeah, that's a couple of years back now. Yeah, 2 years ago. I can't remember. That was a fun thing to do. Yeah, so you're kind of open to all those type of things as well. And are you getting more of those opportunities you find over in America? In terms of kind of like the education or like doing the videos and that kind of stuff? Yeah. Maybe. I'm talking to a few lads at the moment, but nothing absolutely concerned. To be honest with you, it's not something that I'm actively pursuing, like, as in, I still very much doing it, like actually mixing. That's my bread and butter. Like that's the main thing. But
Yeah.
it's really fun to talk about it. And I've actually done a couple of just one-on-one mix lessons, kind of like this over Zoom over the last few weeks with people who are just probably bored out of their mind at home, and they're kind of like, I wouldn't mind learning a little bit more. So that's actually something I'm really enjoying, because again, I just get to have a one-on-one conversation with someone about
Yeah.
how cool all this is, like, you know.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of brought it up, because I mean, you're at this now since probably 2007, would it be, at a guess?
Oh, well, technically, I started, like, I learned it all in 2003. So when I did it, came out of Leaving Cert. But like in terms of actually having the balls to record a band, it was probably 2006 I did the first Murdoch album, and that was just a very much put up some microphones and see what happens. But from then on, I suppose it's been a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more.
So you went to Poppy Hill?
Yes, Poppy Hill. You've done your research, Richie. I like it. Poppy Hill, which is no longer there. That was.
Is it gone? Is it?
It's gone as of about maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I think. Yeah.
Oh, that's a pity, man.
So that's just outside Nace, and that gave me the grounding, or the foundations.
And how many, like, was it a big class, or was there only a few we added, or can you remember?
I remember very well, because it was the way that whole college worked. It was very small, but there was an advantage to it. So I think there was maybe 13, 14 in the whole year.
Oh, right, okay.
So it was a small private college, if you like, for recording.
I think
it gave us great hands-on time and all that. Like,
I think I was in the Ballyfermot. Is Ballyfermot had a college as well?
They did,
yeah. I recorded a demo up there just to help probably someone from Youghal. Just they wanted a band up there, so we did a demo in Ballyfermot. So Poppy Hill and Ballyfermot were probably the two kind of main ones there, really, for the
for that kind of thing. There's a couple in Dublin as well, Sound Training College and Pulse and all those as well.
Yeah.
But again, it's kind of, I believe it's a very competitive field now, and
I'd imagine
with the internet as well. And,
oh yeah, big time. Yeah. So are you in touch with any of the lads that came through Poppy Hill with you?
One or two of them, yeah. There's a couple of them in some bands that I'm still talking to, and I've recorded some of them, I think, as well. Like, but not a lot of them. But and Willie, who was the owner of Poppy Hill. So what happened was, I did so that was 2000, and it would have been the autumn of 2003. I started there, and it finished in 2004. And then the next year, he asked me to come back as a technical assistant. So I was the guy who was like, go home, Aidan. It's time to lock up. Like, I was there after the classes. I was just in love with it. I couldn't describe to you how much fun I was having. So I think just out of nothing else, he needed a bit of help the next year, like being a lecturer assistant, kind of just, with setting up things and helping to, because it's a very practical course. There's, obviously you're setting up mixing desks and microphones and drum kits. So there's a lot of actual just setting up to do with the teaching. So that gave me, I think that was actually probably the most beneficial step for me in my career, in that he asked me to come back. I was like, okay, I should probably do that, not feeling confident enough to do it at all. Suddenly, when you have to learn something to tell other people that you've just learned like a year beforehand or a couple of months beforehand, it makes you learn it. Like, it really, really sets the foundation for getting it into your brain forever, And then did you lecture then with Sound Training College as well? Yeah, that's up until really I came to New York. I suppose I was with the Sound Training College guys for 3 or 4 years. That was just doing once a week, like for about 2 hours. So you just going on a Saturday morning to do a lecture, because again, I didn't have time it wasn't a full-time lecturing gig, because I wouldn't have been able to do this then. And I find that's fine. Some people go down that road, and that's great. It's a great job to have. But I kind of felt I didn't want to be the person not teaching what I didn't practice, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
practicing it, and then the bit of teaching was great. I was really, really enjoyed that.
I sat in on one of them actually. I can't remember now the band who it was, but they gave you a rough demo, and you to kind of, I think it was to do with Charlie Chaplin's speech. Overhead the Albatross. That's them. Yes. I sat through that lecture there the other night. It was great. Oh God, I forgot that was even on the internet. That's actually a good watch, I suppose. Yeah. I probably if I listened to it now, I'd probably cringe because you only had one small drum piece to work with. I know I know if you can't remember, it was a demo they gave, which was really rough, like, and just to see you had to build up all that drum sound.
That was fun. I do remember that. They're one of my favorite bands. That they're not really active anymore. We had started into doing a new album and everything. That's again another conversation. But
yeah,
I know the lads in that band, Dave and Ben and Vinny and all the lads. So what? Yeah, David Prendergast. He's their producer. He's the keyboard player in Codaline as well.
Oh, very good.
And he's his own studio in Kildare, Cleek Recordings. But David reached out to me saying, I think they had a huge gig coming up in Vicar Street. It was their biggest headline show, and they packed the place out. It was a great night. But before that, they're like, we want to do something with this. This would be cool to do a video for. We need to put it up in about 2 days, and we have this demo done of it, but there's no way, for whatever reason they couldn't get together, there's no way we can re-record it again.
Yeah,
it's like that could be fun to just try and build something up out of. I think that I remember. I think the drum recording might have been one mic, or it was like
that's all it was. It was one mic, yeah. And just the way you brought the whole thing up was incredible to watch, you know. So I really enjoyed that, you know.
I must watch that myself again. Might learn something from it.
But what about you did an Enshroud showcase as well? The likes of them things, are you comfortable doing those? Do you enjoy them?
I really do. To be honest with you, before that, I was probably nearly never as nervous in my life because what would you say? Doing the lecturing, you kind of have your lecture prepared and you're talking and it's fun, but that's kind of like, oh wow, people are coming to listen to me talk for 3 hours. This is weird. And I've been on stage with Murdoch. That's fine. Never got nervous before a gig in that way. But this is completely different because I've got projector behind me and I have to touch this thing and what if the mic doesn't work and all that kind of crap. But that was really good as well. That was just to kind of, the point of that I think was to maybe just let other people in the music industry know what goes on when you're mixing a song. So not to go crazy into technical detail about this is what a compressor does and this is what an EQ is. And it was more just, why would someone work with a mixing engineer? Like what would the process be?
Right.
Just to kind of help spread a bit of education to, other people in the music industry. So that was definitely a fun thing to do as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Because as I said, kind of watching the way you explained stuff, I think you've definitely, there's another career for you, probably running side by side, giving back what you learn,
Yeah.
I was just interested, I know you love to be hands-on, involved in mixing and recording, but I think you're fantastic on the other side as well. And certainly people definitely watching your videos can learn an awful lot from you.
Thanks, man. Yeah. And I to be honest with you, yeah, like I love doing it. I think it reinforces how much I love doing this as mixing as my main job, because I love talking about it so much. And to be honest with you, one of the coolest feelings in the world is when a student or just someone asks you a question and they're struggling with something, and if you explain it in such a way, you can see the light bulb going off in their head where they go, oh yeah. And that's really cool. That's just a really nice feeling of there you go, like you've passed it on to someone, or
Yeah. So yeah, it's great, man. And out of Irmo, then did you do any networking? How valuable are those things? You'll obviously hear other people's opinions, and you can also probably promote your own stuff as well at those.
Yeah, I didn't do it, I suppose, as a kind of a greasy salesman, hey, come work with me, here's my business card, although I probably did. But to be honest with you, I actually, a couple of projects came out of that, definitely. I remember, I think I did a few mastering things, and to be honest with you, this is a thing that, and if any of the listeners are interested in getting into this as kind of their career or whatever, it probably took me a long time to learn this, but I learned it the slow and hard way, that this is all about knowing people, and not in the knowing people, greasy salesman, hey, I'm going to make you big baby kind of way. But genuinely knowing people in the industry. It's all word of mouth. Yeah. It's not you can never advertise in the paper, mixing engineer available for 9 to 5 job. It's weird.
Yeah. So that's why I kind of brought it up. Yeah. Because ultimately Ireland, we are small enough, and it's definitely a case of, if you probably meet somebody even just once and have 20 minutes to sell a pitch to them or to tell them much about it, they will actually remember you,
Yeah. There's that, there's that human contact that you don't get in a weird email of hey, are you interested in working with me or whatever. If you're actually just chatting with someone, it's a bond. It does something. And I'm pretty sure, well, no, I'm not going to say every gig, but nearly every gig I've done, in terms of mixing, has come from something else I've done.
Yes, exactly.
Someone say, "Oh, we heard your work with this thing, and would you be interested in doing this with us?" Sometimes you just get these out of the blue ones. People come across you from something, but it's not like so. To bring it back, those networking events, like it's not going to be a case of, "Oh, there's that guy talking about mixing. I'm going to hire him." But it's kind of like they'll hear your name, they might check out your other work, and then they'll see, "Oh, sure, he worked with this band, or he worked with this band," and like it builds up that kind of way.
Have you any business cards?
I do.
There you go, man.
I got 200 printed out, and I think I've got 199 left. It's just not that kind of world where you don't put it in your hand and do the sneaky handshake where you can combine it with a business card, the Alan Partridge move. No.
Yes.
Maybe you should try doing that.
Yeah, come here. You've a wide portfolio of different genres of bands as well: hardcore, metal, punk, post rock, indie, pop, hip hop. I presume you prefer to be working more so on the more heavier side of things, but you're certainly expanding your portfolio. I'd imagine over New York more so.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, Richie, I would prefer to not be doing the same thing every time. And
of course,
that's kind of my thing, and it's kind of almost like if it's sequentially different. So like I kind of just finished mixing an album for a band, Hermitage Green, their Irish band, which is kind of
serious.
Like, yeah, it's it's not metal in the slightest, but it's still fun.
Can I tell you a fast one?
Go for it.
Okay, picture this: around 4 years ago, we were up in the Ambassador Hotel in Cork, myself and Helen, and Hermitage Green. Which I didn't really know much about, being truthful, but I saw the poster because we were going up to the hotel and that they were playing in St. Luke's that night.
Oh, yeah.
Fair enough, anyway. So we booked into the hotel, got changed, went out on the Lash in Cork City. So we came back to the hotel at 2:30 in the morning, and there was this music hammering out of the residence bar. So when we went, and it was Hermitage Green lads, had acoustic guitars out, the whole lot. Mighty crack, anyway. Just said hello to him anyway. Yeah. And so we went upstairs and into bed, and around 4:30 in the morning, the fire alarm went off. Now, I know what you're thinking now. It's the Hermitage Green lads, right? But it wasn't, right? So the room was L-shaped. So I went over to the corner. I got a smell of smoke, and I opened the door. There was nothing happening. Closed the door, went back in, and Helen goes, "What's the story?" And I goes, There's no smoke or anything like that. It must be a false alarm. So I rang down. Anyway, the guy went at reception, goes, no, there was no smoke alarm went off. And I goes, okay, fair enough. And then we just got back into the bed, and I mean, the temperature of the room went down to sub-zero, and we could see our breath in the room. And I was just going, what the fuck is this? So next minute we heard people running up and down the corridor, and I says, right, back out, open the door, nobody there. Closed the door and waited, and I could hear voices then outside the door, directly outside the door. Opened it again, nobody there. So then at that stage, all the fucking hairs on the back of my neck and arms and all, I'm just going, holy shit, what the hell? So I went back in, and it just stayed sub-zero for around an hour and a half, and all this chaos was going outside the door. People, just loud noises and voices. No one there. So I went down to reception the next day and just said it to your one. She goes, what room was that? I goes, room 206. And she goes, yeah, that's kind of haunted, all right. And I'm going, fucking hell. That was the night Hermitage Green.
So you're saying the ghosts of Hermitage Green haunted your room or something? Yeah.
But that's the last time I heard of Hermitage Green. It was just funny the way you brought it up there.
Yeah, Jesus, mad story there. Yeah, so that's an album that they came, or well, the producer Phil McGee asked me would I be interested in mixing it, because like as you kind of what you were asking there was, do I prefer doing heavy stuff? And like, yeah, my default answer is yes. Like it's in my DNA. Like it's
in the DNA. Yes.
Yes. I don't think I can make something sound clean. Even if I try to make some pop stuff, it still kind of comes out a bit dirty. So I'm going to sound big-headed here, but I think that's why a lot of those people come to me. They don't want a clean, sparkly pop record like these. And these guys, Hermitage Green, they're not really a pop band, but they're by no means aggressive or heavy. Like it's kind
No.
of, it'd be very, I don't know what you'd call it. It's, there's loads of sounds going on actually. It's kind of, it would be radio, contemporary kind of music, you know, but they wanted it to impact, they wanted it to be a bit dirty and driven. And so that was kind of, I like doing that. I like when making things maybe not making things sound like they're supposed to sound and having a bit of fun with something.
Again,
I
mean, the scratch there, couldn't give a rat's. What an album. Congratulations. Great work.
Yeah, that was just tremendous fun making that album.
Were you in Ireland for that, or were you?
I did that in Ireland. So that was around Halloween last year. We actually did the recording session for that.
Okay.
For a couple of weeks. And again, I know the lads going back since the Red Enemy days. We would have played about 18,000 shows with them in Murdoch. So known the lads a long time.
Yeah.
And that's another example of just let's make something that should be a bit, or let's try and inject some energy into something that's just acoustic, not just acoustic guitars, but essentially it's just acoustic guitars and a lad hitting a box and shouting over it. So we need to make this, how do we make this feel like a big, impactful kind of punchy thing?
Jesus, you did some job in that. It's brilliant.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
And I think they're going to actually take off.
Yeah, to be honest with you,
they're on the right trajectory.
And they had such a good summer, like of shows and festivals, and they were on the stick. They were really going to have a good one, and that's unfortunately looking very dodgy at the moment. But there's something with those guys that translates, and it's not just with Irish people. You kind of think like, because it's a load of Irish in jokes, and like the turns of phrase are very colloquial, you might say.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it's resonating with people everywhere.
Yes.
I think it's just the rhythm and the energy of it. It's just, but it's not. What would you say? Like, it's not just kind of traddy. Like, there's a really, really powerful energy to that one.
Yeah, I think you summed it up. It's the rhythm and the energy of them, and the delivery as well. To be fair, as well, it's fantastic.
The musicianship and that, again, the talent in that band is just scandalous. Like the lads would come in with half a song. That's the way most of that album went. The lads would come in kind of with 80% of an idea of a song, and it was very much right. Sure, let's try and make something out of this, rather than it coming in being absolutely mechanically and methodically thought out. Mm-hmm. But then they'll just pull out these, the lyrics and the ideas and the guitar lines are just, their execution is ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of as a recorder and mixer, like kind of what would be the biggest technical challenges you face?
In general, you mean? Like
in general,
any band?
Yeah. So if a band is coming to you, we'll say that you haven't worked with before, and maybe it's their first EP, maybe it's their first album. What should they have? What boxes should they have ticked before they even?
Okay, yeah. Before they dare get in touch with me, like, you know? I think one of the first main thing is just knowing the songs. And this is something, actually, to be honest with you, with home recording and demoing, bands have gotten a lot better at. This was a much bigger problem going back a few years further, where bands would be coming in and they like what they hear in their head to what they're actually able to play. There was a canyon of difference sometimes.
Yeah,
and that's tricky, and not even in a technical, but in a psychological way, that can be tricky to go like, okay, you are miles away from where you think you are, but let's work on it. Let's figure it out. But with home recording, bands are coming in a lot more prepared now, so that's definitely got better. They've a lot more of an idea of production and what something should sound like.
Right.
But I think I suppose it depends. But let's say your typical kind of heavy hardcore metal band coming to me, and maybe it's their first time recording. The biggest thing that I think it's hard to get them out of the head of how things might sound in their practice room, and why I might need to change things a little bit for that to translate onto an album or into a record. You know, and like maybe bands coming in with, this is my guitar amp and this is the tone, I set it this way and that's the only way it's supposed to be. And I can go, okay, fine, but I'm going to need to change it a little bit to translate. You know, it's because it's a different medium. Like experiencing a live show to building out a sonic template for a mix is very different. But it's about getting the energy of the live show into that. But to be honest with you, in saying that, I'm not the guy I like capturing what a band is doing. I'm not the guy when a band comes in saying you have to use this amp and there's only one way the drum kit can be set up, and there's only one way this amp. There's no one amp I use the whole time. Like I'm very hands off, I suppose, until I need to kind of maybe steer the tone or steer the band a bit, you know.
Because ultimately it is consuming your time as well. Have you got to that stage now where you're just going, look, lads, this is my time. I have X, Y, and Z lined up behind you, you know?
Yeah, well, I suppose, like, typically, so if a band book in with me, we will book a certain amount of time. And it'll be kind of, if that's 5 days or a month or whatever it is in recording, like, and it's kind of I see it as my job to kind of project manage and get out in front of it and say, right, this is the amount of time we have. Let's be realistic about our expectations, what we can get done. And we'll have a blueprint plan of by day 3, the drum should be done.
Okay. Yeah.
By day 4. But like that is also has to be very flexible. You know, recording sessions, one tiny thing can ruin half a day, like the output of a guitar not working.
Okay.
Or something. You just a technical thing come up and absolutely rob you of the time. And you kind of explain that to bands first. I think the biggest problem is there being no communication at the start. Just going, okay, we're going in for recording and let's see what happens. That's a recipe for kind of maybe disaster, or maybe bands thinking they're getting something else and then you're not delivering what they think you're getting. So if you have a big chat at the start, this is what we're going to do. These are the terms. This is how many days we're in for. Everyone's happier. There's no mystery. Like there's no, like, if you just say, if you get everything out up front, I think that works a lot better. I've learned. Yeah.
And how much research would you do into a band if you haven't heard of them before?
A little, like always a bit. I don't think I've ever taken a band in recently without having hearing something. Like it's rare, and I'm, again, not making myself sound big headed, but it's rare that a band, I'd work with a band now that haven't recorded at all, they'll at least have some EP or a demo or something done.
Yeah.
And that's not saying I wouldn't work with a band, but I kind of, you know, just a lot of those bands that are coming to me are already kind of doing stuff.
Yeah. I suppose as well, you probably can say comfortably now at this stage that you have probably a mixed template the whole time that you use, and what fits into it will save you time as well. Would that be true?
On the mixing side of things?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I suppose the way I would set that kind of stuff up, that's more technical, just the way I set up all the routing of the audio and all that kind of stuff. I'm actually quite adamant about this. I'll never just kind of copy settings on top of another band or something like that.
Yeah.
That does a disservice to everything, I think. My whole thing about recording is not to make things sound like something else. It's to make it sound good for what it is itself. I'm not going to, if a band comes into me and is like, we want to sound like someone else. Okay, there's obviously, they're going to say, we like this record. And
they have their influences and stuff. Yeah.
Like that. And I'd be lying if I said, I don't do a bit of that. Like that's absolutely, but this idea of, oh, that band was good, we want to sound like that. Like that just doesn't really make sense to me, because it's like, you know, it's like people's musical playing is like an accent. Everyone has their own way of speaking, and it's like dialect. You know, it's their own way of communicating. So why are you going to copy someone else's accent? Like, you know, it's, you know, maybe you would, but that's kind of my thoughts on it, you know. Yeah,
cool. And just as well, I'm fascinated in the way you seem to love more sudden angles drums, rhythms.
Yeah, it's
incredible to watch. Again, I was just watching demos, which you're just going through them. How did you, you know, as a front man with Murdoch, you were a guitarist and singer, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So drums, what's your?
I would, the way I think of it, I've often kind of joked with this in Murdoch as well. Like, I feel like I can't play guitar, but I play drums on guitar. If that makes sense. Like, I'm a rhythm player.
Okay.
So I play drums as well. I've never played it with any band, but I'd be quite a competent drummer. Like I can do stuff.
Okay.
But I'm obsessed with rhythms. I don't know what that is. I couldn't tell you. I've just been like, I love the idea of rhythms of playing off each other and polyrhythms, and that's what Murdoch is. Like, it's the whole thing is, how weird can I make everything like in terms of stop, start, rhythm, do, you know, and mess around with it. And a lot of that comes, Ronan, our drummer in Murdoch, he's still probably the best drummer I've ever recorded. He is a machine. Yeah. If you give him a pop song to record on, he is absolutely like on the beat, 4/4. Or if you give him some crazy noisecore metal blast beat thing. He's just on it. So working with him, he's the other side of my brain. Like still, it just my musical other side of my brain, you know.
And of course, you've worked with fantastic drummers. You've recorded with brilliant ones.
Yeah, I've probably just offended everyone I've ever worked with there now. But no, honestly, he's just, and I've worked with a lot of amazing drummers. There's the talent out there at the moment. It's just ridiculous.
It is phenomenal.
It's ridiculous.
Phenomenal. Yeah. But you're not a fan of cymbals then?
No, and
I do my research, man.
Man, you're in my brain here. Like I love drums and I love beating the crap out of cymbals, but from recording and mixing perspective, like probably the worst thing you could probably do. Let's make a song. Okay, let's get a big piece of metal and beat the crap out of it, and try and fit that in with everything else. They're just like, I love it, and the energy. Like, I don't get me wrong, I love punk and hardcore, noisy cymbals and all that stuff, but just in turn, they make life hard in terms of mixing.
Yeah. They're a challenge. Yeah, I'd imagine so. So this year, Aid, like Zhora's new release came out. Again, congratulations. That was a fantastic piece. They delivered.
Nice, thanks. Yeah, there's a nice bit of what would you say? Nice bit of hate in that album. Yeah, and just darkness.
Yeah. They're very organized. They came in with a plan, I'd imagine.
Very much so. Great lads as well. Like, just really enjoyed working with those guys. Sorry, I need to reiterate that. A very organized band. Like, that session was booked maybe 7 months in advance, and there was Google Drive folders set up with demos, and they were really, really like
on point
about it, to be prepared enough to allow this actual recording to be free then, if you know what I mean, or to be like exploratory.
Yeah.
It wasn't kind of like, this is it and this is it and that's it. You know, we had a lot of time experimenting and trying tribal rhythms and overdubbing. We were hitting shoes off floors and radiators and for overdubs, and that was a good
I think I saw a picture of you. Was it up on top of at a fan or something, up on top of the top of a room or something? Was that you? Yeah.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah, that's in the studio where I record when I'm in Ireland. It's called Bluebird. There's just it's an air conditioning duct that leads out of the main live room over the kitchen. It's like, what would it be like if we stuck a mic in there? It made it onto the album somewhere. It's in there. I actually can't remember, but it's in there somewhere. Yeah.
And I want to give a shout out as well to Worn Out. I heard Evan was kind enough to give me a demo of their stuff. Yeah, fantastic, man. Again,
I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're great lads.
Again, one remarkably fun session to do. Really enjoyed it. I love those guys. And the session could have gone very bad because, again, Brian, the bassist, hurt his hand, and
that's right. He stabbed himself or something, was it?
He hurt himself with a knife somehow at work, and it was like a week before we were due to record. So we went ahead with all the recording as planned, apart from bass. And Brian, like a few months later, he tracked the bass himself, and I was able to reamp it then and use his performance in the thing. But fair play to him. I think he might have recorded the bass with one finger, or that he really had to change how he was playing to get it down. So he went through pain to make that album or to make that record happen. So that was
I can't wait for that. Again, they're stuck at the moment. It's just very hard for a lot of these lads.
It's weird.
Bands you're working on the moment with is State Lights, is it? And Skated from Ireland.
Yeah, I skated. I just did a mix a song for them. That's a really good song. Again, that's going to be a good. What would you say? There's a really good melodic chorus to that song, so I can see that doing well for them. State Lights, another Irish band, different buzz altogether. They've kind of got this, would you say, 80s kind of new romantic kind of.
Okay.
Like something that you'd hear maybe a little bit from. Does kind of, I won't say Duran Duran. It's not cheesy.
Human League.
Yeah, there's a cool thing going on there with those.
Yeah,
with that band. Yeah,
that's great, man. And what about Murdoch? Is that pushed aside at the moment?
Yeah, well, it is in terms of the last thing we did. I think the last time we were all in a room together jamming was maybe 2016, maybe 2017. And it's just, to be honest with you, like I was the main driving creative organizing force in that band. And as I've gotten busier with this, the last thing I can kind of find myself doing is I have time to just pick up a guitar at the end of the day and work on my own stuff. Or like, at least for the last few years, that's been the way. The balancing of it all kind of was very hard.
Yeah.
And we'd been together for 10 or 11 years. We did a lot of stuff. So I think it just ran its I don't, what would I say? It takes a lot of mental energy to create a Murdoch song. Like there's a lot of madness happening, and I don't feel I need to explore that, at least at the moment anymore, that style of music. You know, I did a lot of what I wanted to do with it. In saying that, there's
always the old nostalgia thing going on, though, you know.
Oh man, to be honest with you, it was a week or two ago here. I went down a bit of a YouTube live video and listened back to all stuff, going, "Oh, it wasn't bad." Like maybe, yeah. I miss it. I miss gigging and not being on stage, as in look at me, but I miss the experience of it all so much, and that itch is definitely starting again. So I'm writing stuff that I don't think would end up as Murdoch, but it's
okay.
It might involve some people from it. That's all I'm going to say at the moment.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah, there's something happening.
So I'm just going to throw out a quote to you there that you said a long time ago, and do you still feel the same way about it? And it's, I like the idea of taking things apart and reconstructing them in new, different ways. That is what has always appealed to me in every part of life. Do you still stand by that?
Wow. I don't remember saying that, but yeah, I'll very much for writing music anyway. I certainly like that idea of I think I remember saying that, coming from that phrase, don't fix something if it isn't broken. And I don't like that sometimes. Sometimes that can be true for some things, but it's kind of, what if you did take it apart and put it together a different way? Maybe that would be something new. You know, that was kind of just what that was coming from. So my biggest, if I'm writing music myself, I think my biggest my biggest block is as soon as I go to write something, it's like, someone else has already done this. I get very frustrated by, I kind of feel this unbelievable need for it to be unique and to be different. I can't just write, or if I come up with something that sounds like something else, I'm like, what's the point in that? Like, I'm very defeatist in that way. Like, it's weird.
I think you kind of, whether or not you're aware of it, it comes probably across and when you're recording, mixing with bands as well. You won't allow that complacency that, you know, why copy someone else? You, as you said yourself perfectly, you know, you have a different voice, you know, why sound the same?
And again, that's, I don't, and thanks for saying that. I'm glad it's coming across, but I don't think that's also that's not a forced like style I'm trying to do. That's generally just the way I hear music. I think it's just the way my brain works. Because I have to be emotionally invested in a band if I'm working with them. I'm not the guy who's like, I'll record you, don't give a shit, put it out. Like, I love music so much. Even with the band, like, I'd be lying and said if everything I recorded was my favorite music in the world. It's absolutely not. But there's something, there's even in a kind of a crappy song, or in my opinion it might be a crappy song, there has to be something in it that's cool, like, or that's enjoyable. Maybe it's just the beat is cool or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's just finding what's unique and interesting to me, and then forcing other people into listening to the way I like music, you know.
So come here, just recommend 3 things for the listeners. I'm going to ask you to recommend a book, an album, and an artist or a designer, preferably one that has worked on covers and stuff. Just
okay.
So I
need to. Okay, well, an artist. This is about. I might give you something a bit left field here, because I think, or a lot of people ask me, like, do I just listen to metal and punk and stuff? And to be honest with you, I do. Like, I still listen to a lot of it, but like, it's not after, again, if you're mixing a metal song for 8 hours, I don't really go and stick on metal. So there's an artist called Emily Zoe. She's a Swiss artist.
Okay.
And the album's called The Very Start, and I'm obsessed with this album. It's this lo-fi acoustic, like, sounds like it was recorded in a garage. So I just check that out if you want songs that hit you in the feels. Oh, it's a beautiful album. That's cool. Emily Zoe. Book. To be honest with you, actually, one of the best things I've read recently is Blind Boy's short stories book. I don't know if you've read that.
Oh, yeah. I haven't read the second one. The first one I have, that was brilliant.
So what happened? Yeah, I was back in Ireland for Christmas, and my brother gave it to me, and I read a lot of kind of psychological books and deep science books. I'm into all that kind of stuff, and I just wanted something a bit more out there and
abstract.
I've never nearly laughed and cried as much reading a book. He's managed to completely encapsulate what it's like being, it's very male centered, like what it's like to be a man maybe in your 30s in Ireland, or like from Ireland. And then it's also, there's stories about Oh, it's everything.
Yeah,
It's the darkest thing and the funniest thing I've ever read in a long time.
I think there's a bit of Irvin Welsh in with him as well, which I really admire.
Yeah. And then
So
his turn of phrase, it's just
yes,
the phrase he comes out with. Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah. So
yeah,
for a
cool.
lad with a bag on his head, he's doing well.
So, do you want to give any shout outs to anybody before we go?
Oh God! Everybody, I better give a shout out to Evan and his dog Sarah. I've never met Sarah the dog, so that's Evan from Worn Out. But every
Okay.
couple of days or every couple of weeks, he'll send me a photo of the dog just to let me know she's doing okay. So
Yeah, cool.
if I didn't do that, he'd probably cry.
And again, you're not sure when you're back in Ireland next.
No, so again, was due to be there the last 3 weeks, starting 3 different records. So obviously that's kind of postponed for the moment,
Right.
and whenever it's safe to do so, I'll be back. I guess that's all I can do for the moment,
And how will people find you?
If they want to check out my work, it's aidan-cunningham.com or I'm on the Instagram. Yeah, you give the links and all that kind of stuff.
I'll give it the links.
They can see what I'm doing there.
Yeah, cool, man. Listen, thanks for taking the time.
Geez, nice one, Richie. Thanks for having me on, man. Good to talk to you. Chat to you again.
Stay safe.
I will. I'll try.
So this is Richie from the Metal Cell podcast. You were listening to the brilliant and talented Aidan Cunningham. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and it'd be nice to see Aidan back on these green shores sooner rather than later. Okay, we're going to finish with this last song of the night, and it's from local Galway artist Ruairi O'Bognell. So Ruairi is a ritual dark ambient drone artist influenced by the occult and pagan history of his country, as well as the darker side of the psychedelic experience. His work often makes for an intense and frequently unsettling listening experience, and he explores this through themes of dark ritual ambience and meditative drones, primarily using instrumentation, vocals and found sound and field recordings, which he twists into dark compositions by means of digital manipulation. Since 2012, O'Bognell has played shows in Ireland, the UK and mainland Europe, supporting such acts as Orfaust and Bellwitch. They actually played Cork and saw Ruairi at the Ritual of the Evil Eye as well. Fair play to him. To date, he has released 7 split albums, 1 live album, and 4 full-length albums. His new album is Parish Law, and that is out now on digital format and will be released on CD on May the 18th. You can pre-order the CD at cursedmonk.bandcamp.com. So this is the title track, Parish Law. Thanks everyone for listening, and I hope you all enjoyed the show. And be sure to check out all the Metal Cell's social media sites, and of course the YouTube channel as well, where the interview with Aidan will be on it in its video format. Thank you. This is Richie saying over and out.